We went to a wedding and our kids were in it.
Yay!
Congratulations, Nicole and Julio. If you want to hear about going to a wedding with your kids, stay tuned to find out.
Hello and welcome to Couple Chat.
Where we
Parents.
discuss topics for you.
Parents. I'm Matt.
I'm Jackie. Let's chat. We went to a wedding this weekend and it was so much fun.
Yes.
And our kids were in it.
Mm.
And that was just a really awesome surprise.
Well, it wasn't a surprise. We knew they were going to be in it.
Well, when we were first asked, I feel like it was just, I don't know, it felt like an honor.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, you know, for our wedding, our kids who were there were a lot older, and it wasn't necessarily something where I was concerned, like, oh, can I trust them? Because, I mean, my cousin was 10, your niece and nephew were 10 and 8. So it's not something that we were really worried about. Oh, will they carry the pillow straight? Will they, or the ring canister straight? Or, oh, will they throw the flowers? Even though the girls didn't throw the flowers the way they were supposed to, but
No.
we also didn't have that rehearsal. So it's just one of those things where, you know, for our children who are 2 and 4 to be invited, to be trusted with that task, that honor. I don't know. It made me feel really good because our kids were trusted with that. I mean, Nate did not carry the rings.
I figured he wasn't going to have real rings. And I was wondering that, but I totally forgot to even ask you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way the day went, I mean, it was a bit hectic in the beginning when, like, you know, the kids were standing around and we had to take pictures, and there was a lot of waiting. There's a lot of waiting before a wedding starts, and it's a little too much for young children, but our kids are kind of rambunctious.
Compared to the other kids that were in the wedding, they were off the walls. And when they're dressed nice and everything, it's like...
At least Nate was. Emma was more controllable, but, like, Nate didn't want to stand still. He didn't want to stay in the places he was supposed to. He was, like, going around, hugging everybody, taking people on trips around the whole venue. Like, it's just very Nate of him. After we took the pictures, we kind of went our separate ways because, you know, Jackie was going to be there to, like, make sure they came down the aisle and everything was fine. And I was sitting in the ceremony waiting for them to come down. Figured it would be like, you know.
I was on like the QB side and you were on the receiving side. You were supposed to catch the ball. You caught the kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I did. I literally caught Nate.
Yeah.
Because, like, after he brought the pillow with the knot rings up, he was like, what do I do now? And I was like, all right, just come over to me.
Yeah.
And he did. And then that was it. That was pretty much it. We saw everybody walk. Saw Nicole walk down, and Nate was like, all right, cool, I'm bored. Can we go somewhere? And didn't see any of the ceremony after that.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, it's fine.
I know. I feel bad.
Yeah, but I'm a cinematic person over being like an event or theater type of person. So not seeing the ceremony as an audience person and eventually seeing it on video shot in a specific way, edited together. I'd rather see it that way anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited to see what they get because I did not see any of that.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone walk down the aisle. I have a picture from behind the procession of everyone lined up.
Do you?
But I have no visuals of them walking because so the way that the venue was set up, there was like this sports bar set off to the side across the hallway from the entrance they were all walking into.
Right.
So we were all in that space, lined up. They were all paired up. And then the kids were kind of set off to the side because they're like, well, we know you're not really going to stand in pairs. Like, you guys stay right here. And then when we're ready for you, we'll get you in line. So the whole bridal party went. And then they're like, okay, boys, let's line up. Because there were 2 ring bearers, 2 flower girls.
Line up, everybody, line up.
Everybody go and walk down the aisle.
Bam, 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 bam.
If you don't know that reference, Bubble Guppies is the bomb, and Nate's loving it right now. So we are getting back into it.
All of a sudden.
I'm okay with that. We tried it when he was younger, and he didn't really understand it. But now he's like, I know what a school day is. I know what structure is. And
maybe that's why he likes it so much.
Yeah, lunchtime and all that. Anyway, so the boys lined up. They did their thing. And then I kept saying to Nate, I was like, Nate, you have to pretend like it's a plate of food. I want you to keep it as flat as you can because I want you to pretend there's hot food on the top and you don't want to make a mess. And I felt that that was my way of really explaining to him, you have to use both hands and you have to keep it flat because if there were actual rings on it, then they would have fallen right off.
Yeah.
So the ring bearer pillows were made by my cousin's aunt on her father's side. And they were very special because they were made from her grandmother's wedding dress, who is no longer with us as well. So that was a really nice sentimental thing. Her aunt actually made 3 because my cousin is the oldest of 3 girls. So each girl has her own ring pillow for her wedding.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And since my cousin had 2 ring bearers, there were 2 pillows at this one because she borrowed one of her sisters so that she could have each boy have a pillow. But each of the pillows has 2 solid gold rings already attached. So whether the ring bearer who has it is going to be carrying the rings or not, you have rings to symbolize what it's holding.
I mean, I've seen that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
The ring bearers are mostly symbolic these days.
Sure.
But because my nephew was so much older, he actually did carry the rings for real.
Right. That's what I mean. He was 10 years old. We gave him the canister with the rings and we trusted him with that. Like he held on to it really well. Like we weren't worried about him dropping it or throwing it around or whatever. So I really think that it really all depends on who you are and your kid's temperament. But I felt that them not holding the rings was the best idea ever. Nicole thought about it too. My cousin thought about it too after the fact because I had mentioned it to her a week before. I was like, hey, are they going to be carrying the rings on the pillows? Like, what's your plan? I just want to like prepare Nate. And then she said to me that day, she was like, when you had said that, I was like, yeah, no, you're right. I'm not going to let them carry the actual rings.
Yeah.
So instead, the coordinator was like, no, it should be the best man. Because typically the bridesmaid doesn't, like the maid of honor, doesn't have pockets or anywhere to hold it. She's holding the bride's bouquet and sometimes even her own.
Yeah.
So, the maid of honor had a lot going on already. So they gave it to the best man, which worked out fine.
But the best man always has the rings after.
They were trying to make it so that the maid of honor was holding his and the best man was holding hers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because then they don't have to like pass it along. It's just here you go.
Again, I didn't see the ceremony, so I don't know exactly how it went down.
Yeah. But anyway, so the boys went out and then the girls went out and I saw none of it. I didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
And all I hear when the boys go out is, oh, and then I hear the girls and then it's a even bigger, oh, and it's like, I want to see that. And so the woman's like, okay, your job is done. The kids are out there. You want to go to that other door. You can go in from the side. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Love you, cuz. Bye. I go down the hallway, come up the side. There's people there and I can't see the aisle. So I couldn't see what Emma was doing, I was told after she would take one petal out, place it on the ground, like bend down, place it on the ground, take another one out, bend down, place it on the ground. So she was very meticulous about her job. By the time she got down to the end of the aisle, I was there and I was able to be like, come on, and brought her over to our seats. And then she takes the thing, dumps it out in front of her and goes, I did it! As soon as my cousin gets to the front to stand by her soon-to-be husband, she's the whole time she's like, I did it. I clean up now. And it's like, okay, shh. So she started cleaning up the petals, putting them back in the thing. And then she would pour it out again. And she goes, I did it. And she just kept doing it over and over. And I'm just like, I hope that the camera that was set up right next to us, like right next to us. It was there was an open chair next to me for you, and then the camera on a tripod. And I was like, I just hope this camera is not getting audio because all it's going to hear is, I did it.
He mic'd up the officiant.
Right.
I saw, it's funny, when the officiant was walking down the aisle, I saw the lav on him. So.
Oh, yeah, I could too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was plain as day.
Oh,
yeah. And then he had the mic from the DJ too, to like kind of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Help with that.
Right.
But yeah, it was beautiful. It was short, which is excellent when you have children, whether they want to sit there or not.
Yeah.
And the officiant was actually a really good childhood friend of the groom's who'd known him 25 years. And like, that's gold. You don't usually get that in a wedding ceremony like that. Like, either you have a priest that may not even know you as a couple, or you have a random judge you can find online. We were lucky in the fact that we also had someone who we got officiated to do our wedding,
right.
who was a friend through film that we'd worked with many times, and
somebody that like we trusted. And his name's Nick Merbosh. He's awesome, but we wanted to pick someone that we both knew well.
No, well, originally, remember, we didn't want to pick sides. We didn't want to pick someone on my family. We didn't want to pick someone on yours. We wanted someone who was more neutral.
Right.
And I think that's why we picked Nick, because he was a friend to both of us. Like, he was someone that we both worked with, someone that we felt comfortable with. He knew enough about our relationship because he was there pretty early on.
Mm-hmm. 2011 we met. Well, even earlier, I guess, because we shot A Fine Line in 2010. So, So, I mean, Nick's
known us practically our whole relationship.
Right.
So I think that's also why we went with him, because we knew not only could he memorize most of it or memorize it, it was nice to be able to just have someone who knew us as a couple and didn't have to be family to be that way. And I think that's what helped with their officiant. He didn't have to be blood related to know them as people and as a couple.
Right.
And I think that's really what he talked most about was, and he's been married 11 years. So he said, he was like, love is important, communication is important. And he literally looked at Julio, looked at my cousin's new husband and goes, yeah, you'll never be right again. Get used to it now. You'll become a husband. He'll just say, yes, dear. I know, dear. You're right, dear. And that's how he opened up the ceremony. It was pretty funny. But yeah. And then they didn't even do their own vows. He made it quick.
Really?
Yeah. They did, the having to hold, quick little blurb, sickness and in health. But that was it.
Huh.
It was so nice and sweet. And I feel like because they weren't really going to be able to talk, because like they both had it hard to like keep it straight. I don't know how to say that.
They were both emotional.
They were both emotional. Yeah. So they were having a hard time even getting through the words they had to say.
Wow,
I couldn't imagine them making their own vows and doing that too.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wish I saw it.
You will. You'll see the video.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so, I mean, really, like, on the subject of, like, being parents and having toddlers involved in a wedding, I would say if you're in that position where somebody has asked you, if you're, if it's family or a friend and you have kids, you just have to determine who your kids are, like, are they able to follow directions and walk down an aisle and do the things that they need to do? And then there's the next step too, whereas is the reception open to young children, or is it just they're there for a ceremony and then the reception is for adults or whatever? It all depends on how the wedding goes. And for this one, it was like, originally it was, hey, it's, like, we want you guys to enjoy yourselves and whatever. And then I think there were just some situations with the other kids that it's like, they just opened it up for them to stay. we had already planned for them not to. And being that they were so rambunctious anyway, we were kind of happy that we did keep it that way. We were a little upset that we didn't have them there for dancing and all that stuff. They both love dancing. Mm-hmm. And especially like for me, we have like Bluey's The Sign, like just in the back of our heads at the moment.
The whole time. Literally, I keep seeing like flashes of like, wow, if they were here, this would have been a moment for like all of us to do something together. And it's like, ugh, I felt guilty for a moment. And then I'm like, no, it's our date night. We already have a babysitter that drove 5 hours to get here. Yeah. And they were early, which was great. Congratulations. You did a good job. You were there early. Thank you so much. We were nervous, but at the same time, like we needed that. We needed that night away. We needed that break.
Especially to be able to do that with your family, which is not something we've been able to do in a while. You know, having kids, you kind of lose out on certain aspects of family gatherings. And it's also hard because we're the only ones in her family, in her immediate family, that have young children. The other kids that were in the wedding are on her cousin's other side of her family. So like we don't really see them often, and we're not really that close with them. So it's just no one else in our family has kids. So it's weird, you know, like we want to be able to enjoy ourselves with all these other people that don't have kids. And, you know, we knew this would be the better way to go about it. Obviously, when time goes on and they get older and there are other people within our family getting married and whatnot.
Even friends that are getting married. We have a few friends that are recently engaged and hope to be, you know, at least invited to their weddings and kind of be able to celebrate that. Maybe as they get older, it'll be something definitely reconsider.
Yeah. I mean, I can already guess that there's at least one major wedding in a 10 to 15 years where these kids will be involved in some way, shape, and form.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe a little sooner.
All depends on her life choices.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
And right now,
27's a good age.
Sure.
27's a good age. That's when we got married.
Yeah, but right now, she's just failing.
No, I think she's just learning.
Sure.
You know who you are.
So, anyway.
I definitely think there's more opportunities in the future for them to join in. I think this one, for us, we planned it as a date night.
Right.
And we needed that. No matter if we saw the sign before it and like really feel guilty about certain things, certain aspects that we wish we kind of, maybe they could have stayed or like a little while and then left for night. Like, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But we really just felt, I personally needed a break. I needed that breath, especially because it was a stressful day.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful.
For us. Because everyone else is like laid back and everything's going so smooth. And it's like, I just want him to walk down the aisle. I just want her to throw some flowers and go home.
Yeah.
And then when they did it and the reception, you know, the cocktail hour started and everything, it was like, oh, but do they have to go yet? And then their ride was there 45 minutes early. And we were like, I guess they do have to go.
I feel like if they weren't there, maybe like me, I was like ready to be like, all right, let's go, get out of here. Yeah. But like if they weren't there, I guess, you know, I would have been like, all right, guys, well, let's eat something. All right, let's hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, after they left, see, that's the thing. We're both like tag teaming, like trying to keep them busy. And it's like, if we hadn't had someone pick them up, our cocktail hour, I already know would have been different. Like,
it already, yeah.
Her and I were like loosey goosey. We had cocktails, obviously. We were eating. We didn't have anybody around to like, oh my God, I got to make sure. We know exactly it would have been a completely different experience.
The first half hour was because we were trying to get pictures and trying to, get them to go, but they were screaming about being hungry and we had to get them something to eat. But the stuff there was like not the kind of thing that they would just, take and go because they're kids and they make messes.
But also like, and see, that's another thing too. There like the cocktail hour, it was food you would find at a cocktail hour. There's nothing there that like they would really eat.
That's what I mean. There were a taco bar, which was cool.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah, for us. Nate took a taco.
Yeah, but he didn't want like any of the steak or anything. He just had, he just had a tortilla with lettuce and some
guacamole,
cojito cheese.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think our choice was the right one for sure. What we did and how we felt after. It was funny because I think it was my brother who made the comment. He was like, "Oh, you guys seem light," and it's like, Yeah. So I don't know.
It's just you have to determine that as a parent. You know your children. You know how they are.
Yeah.
All kids are different, and we know that Nate especially is very rambunctious and he needs to be running around and preoccupied. And while the dancing part he would have had a blast with, everything else leading up to that is what was hard and what would have been hard because we still had to get through a ton to even get to the dance floor. Yeah. I mean, you had the cocktail hour, you had the
introductions,
the intros, the first dances, the memorial video. Like there was a ton of stuff. It was at least another 2 hours before dancing began. Maybe because cocktail hour.
It was another half hour. Like if they had stayed after that point when they had left, it was another half hour of cocktail hour, and then an hour, maybe like 45 minutes.
All right.
But yes, I get it. And that's the thing too. They wouldn't have had seats because again, initially we did not plan for them to stay. So there was nowhere for them to go.
It didn't look like the other kids had seats either.
They did.
Oh, didn't
they? Mm-hmm. But that's fine. They were put in 2 weeks ago. If we had said day of, like, hey, never mind, then I don't know where we would have fit. But there were a few people that didn't show. So like maybe they could have like fit us in somewhere else. But all's well that ends well. It was a great day. And I mean, honestly, like Matt's saying, judge it by your own kids. But honestly, I never thought Nate or Emma would have done as well as they did. After all is said and done, they did a great job.
I was worried, but like Nate's funny. Emma I wasn't really that worried about. Because she gets shy, and like I thought she might have clammed up, but she didn't. She went down the aisle. But like Nate, he's not shy. I was more worried that he wouldn't stand still or like listen. But he goes to school, and the coordinators that were setting everything up, they were pretty strict and like made sure everything was like right on point. So. Yeah. I think that probably helped to somebody else telling him what he needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, they had 3 coordinators. They had 1 just for the kids.
Wow, really?
Yes. And then they had 2 for the wedding party.
Where was she when we were taking pictures?
I don't know. I think, no, they were coordinating the people setting up the space because that's how like everyone's setting up the tables. Yeah. And then when they decided to change, so originally the ceremony was supposed to be outside and they were like, rain's calling, it's calling rain. So we're bringing it in. They had to move all those tables out and they were set.
Yeah.
Like all the way down to the butter and the rolls.
But they were on casters.
They had to pick them up and walk them in and out of the room.
I thought they were on casters.
No, the chairs were.
I saw that they moved the tables into like the side space there, and I was like, oh, I guess they just rolled them there.
No, they picked them up.
Oh, wow.
Because I watched them bring them out. They were 3 people to a table were carrying them out, and the one coordinator's like, And I walked past and she was like, keep
With,
going. And I was like, yeah.
With airplane.
No, her hands, because, they were inside. They were close enough they could see. But pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I think that.
They're probably used to that, though.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be ready for anything when it comes to event planning or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it ended up being a really great day. It's one day. Your child is going to do whatever they can to make the day special, memorable. Everyone I talk to about, oh my gosh, your kids are so young. That'll be so funny, or that'll be so interesting. That'll be viral, depending on what the kid does.
I do have some reels, or I do have some vertical video that I won't post, just like all the other vertical video that I have that I don't post. Like, earlier this month we went on vacation. Did you see a lot of that?
Did you see any of that?
Some, when we first started.
When we were there?
No.
No.
Not even.
Oops.
I'll get there, folks. Life's hard.
Life's busy. But honestly, though, it's one of those things where once it was done, we were able to have fun and enjoy the night. And I think whoever you are, if you're really considering it and you can, financially handle it, because I know a wedding is a financial thing too. Consider it.
Depending on how deep in you are.
Yeah.
Because then there could also be where the whole family or one of the parents and the kids are in the wedding because, my
your
sister and all 3 of her kids were in our wedding.
Right.
So, that's 4 out of the 5 people in their family, so.
And we did our best to be like budget friendly. We made sure
did.
that the girls could pick their own dresses. They only had one thing they had to buy specific, and it was $12.
Right.
The little girls, their dresses were $18. Like, we did really try to make it as cost effective for them as possible.
Right.
And that's really where we came from as a bride and groom. We wanted to make sure that we weren't breaking the bank, that the people that we wanted with us felt good about being there.
Right.
And on this side too, being involved in a wedding like this, there wasn't any like, no, you have to spend at least $300. Like, it felt very relaxed and very nice to be able to be a part of a wedding like this, because there was no large monetary obligation, which was nice. It was a relief, because that's something when someone asks you to be in a wedding that you really have to consider.
Yeah.
And that's a big decision. And some people, oh yeah, of course I'll be in your wedding. And it's like, whoa, I'm spending $1,000. What?
Yeah.
Like,
or more.
Yeah, it could be a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely consider the financial part of it. But I think if you can get past that, or if you can handle that, it's definitely worth it, because these are memories we'll have forever.
Yeah. But yeah, so weddings, they happen. I don't know.
They do indeed.
Anyway, I know we said we were going to talk Universal, but we had a wedding and we thought that we should do this before we get there. So next week, maybe, unless something else comes up that's more important.
May the 4th.
But what will we talk about?
I don't know, but May the 4th is more important.
Like Tales of the Empire is coming out.
Bad Batch is ending.
Mother trucker. So we're going to do a May the 4th episode, I guess, and not talk about Universal again.
I mean, Universal.
No. Hollywood Studios would have.
I know.
Anyway, so we'll get there eventually, but most likely we will be talking Star Wars next week.
Thank you for staying with us, folks. We appreciate your patience.
For those of you who are like waiting for that episode or something.
With bated breath.
Yes. What did they do in Universal?
I need to know.
Tell me, baby girl, because I need... Oh, it was
to
I need
know.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Matt.
I'm Jackie. Here are the Hahns signing out. Thank you so much for listening to Couple Chat. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube Music, and check out our YouTube page to see this episode in video. Thank you to Han Films for editing and producing this episode. Talk to you soon.